Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the secrets, stories, and hidden treasures behind America's most fascinating coins. Rarest coins. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most legendary nickels in U.S. history, the 1964 Jefferson nickel. Most people have seen this coin countless times, maybe even have a few sitting in jars or drawers at home. But what if I told you that one very rare version of this coin has been valued at an unbelievable $1.9 million? That's right, a 5-cent coin that could be worth more than a luxury mansion. To understand how this happened, let's start with the history. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, designed by Felix Schlag to honor Thomas Jefferson, one of America's founding fathers and the third president of the United States. On the front, you have Jefferson's portrait, and on the back, you see his home, Monticello. It's one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history and a symbol of stability and tradition in American currency. Now, 1964 was a pivotal year for U.S. coinage. The country was facing a severe coin shortage, and the U.S. Mint was under massive pressure to produce more coins for circulation. That year alone, more than 2 billion Jefferson nickels were struck, the highest number ever produced at the time. Most of them came from the Philadelphia Mint, marked with no mint letter, and from the Denver Mint, marked with a small D on the reverse side. With so many coins made, you might wonder how any of them could be worth more than 5 cents. The answer lies in a combination of history, rarity, and one of the most famous minting mysteries ever recorded. Among all those billions of nickels, a few stand out for their incredible detail and unusual characteristics. One of the most talked about versions is the 1964 Jefferson nickel with full steps. This means that on the reverse side, every step on Monticello is perfectly visible, clear, and unbroken. Because of the intense demand and fast production that year, most nickels came out with weak strikes, blurring the steps. Finding a 1964 nickel with perfectly struck steps is incredibly rare, and these coins can sell for thousands of dollars. But that's not where the million-dollar story comes from. The real legend surrounds a rumored 1964 Jefferson nickel struck as a special proof or experimental coin. According to numismatic reports, a small number of proof-like nickels from 1964 were struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a time when proof coin production was officially paused. These coins were never supposed to exist. Proof coins are made with special dies and highly polished planchets, producing mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. Somehow, a few of these experimental coins made their way out of the mint, and they became some of the rarest modern nickels in history. One of these coins, believed to be an authentic 1964 special strike nickel, is said to have sold in a private sale for around $1.9 million. Its perfect condition, mirrored finish, and mysterious origin make it one of the most valuable nickels ever known. This coin represents a piece of minting history that was never meant to leave the U.S. Mint, which only adds to its allure and value. Even if you don't have the million-dollar version, your 1964 nickel could still be worth more than you think. Coins with high grades, meaning they show no signs of wear, are already collectible. Those with the full steps designation are particularly valuable. A regular 1964 Jefferson nickel in flawless mint state condition can sell for hundreds, and a full steps variety can bring in thousands. The Denver Mint version, marked with AD, tends to be slightly more common, but the Philadelphia version without a mint mark has produced some of the sharpest, most desirable examples. If you want to check whether your 1964 nickel might be valuable, start by examining it under good light. Look closely at the steps of Monticello on the reverse side. If you can count all 6 steps clearly without breaks or flattening, you may have a full steps example. Then check for the mint mark, AD for Denver or no mark for Philadelphia, and look at the overall shine and surface of the coin. Any unusual coloring, mirror-like surfaces, or unusually sharp details could mean you're holding something truly rare. It's also important to know that some 1964 nickels show doubling, where parts of the lettering or numbers look slightly doubled. These are known as double die errors, and they can increase the value of your coin significantly. Combine a double die with full steps and mint state condition, and you could be looking at a major prize in the world of coin collecting. If you think your coin might be special, the best thing to do is get it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They'll verify its authenticity, check for errors or special characteristics, and assign it a grade. A high grade from one of these companies can instantly raise the value of your coin. The 1964 Jefferson nickel is more than just a piece of change. It's a snapshot of American history, a symbol of a time when the nation's coinage was under transformation and pressure, and when the smallest mistakes could create treasures worth a fortune. Every year, collectors still search rolls of nickels from banks, hoping to uncover one of these rare full-step varieties, or, if they're incredibly lucky, one of the mysterious special strike coins. Imagine the excitement of finding one, a coin that looks ordinary to everyone else, but turns out to be worth nearly $2 million. It's the ultimate hidden treasure story, right in your pocket. The next time you come across a 1964 Jefferson nickel, don't overlook it. Take a closer look. Check the steps, check the details, and remember that even a small coin can hold a massive secret. The next million-dollar nickel might just be waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed learning about the history and hidden value of the 1964 Jefferson nickel, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss our next story about rare coins and valuable discoveries. Tell us in the comments if you've ever found an unusual or old nickel in your change. Who knows? Your story could be the next big discovery we talk about here. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and remember, history is all around you, sometimes hiding in the smallest and most unexpected places. Would you like me to write the next video script on the 1965 Jefferson nickel, following the same cinematic, narrative style to continue your rare coin video series? Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the stories behind America's most fascinating and valuable coins. Rarest coins today, we're talking about a coin that most people have handled at some point but never realized how special it could be. The 1973 Jefferson nickel. It's one of the most common coins in circulation, yet one specific example of this coin is rumored to have sold for as much as $1.7 million. That's right, a simple 5-cent piece that could change your life if you happen to find the right one. Let's start with a little history. The Jefferson nickel has been an important part of American coinage since 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel. It was designed by Felix Schlag, who captured the image of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. The design became an American classic, representing strength, history, and tradition. For decades, billions of Jefferson nickels were struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, making them a familiar part of everyday life. By 1973, the United States Mint was running full force, producing hundreds of millions of coins to keep up with the nation's growing economy. The 1973 Jefferson nickel was no exception. It was minted primarily at Philadelphia, with no mint mark, and in Denver, which carries the small letter D on the reverse side. Most of these nickels were ordinary and spent decades circulating in pockets, jars, and drawers across America. But as collectors know, sometimes one coin out of millions comes out with something extraordinary. And that's where the story of the 1973 Jefferson nickel takes a dramatic turn. According to numismatic circles and private collector reports, there exists a 1973 Jefferson nickel that stands apart from all others. This coin is said to have a unique minting error, possibly struck on the wrong metal planchet or using a misaligned die. Some believe it may have been struck on a foreign coin blank, or even an experimental test planchet used during production. The result is a coin with an unusual metallic tone, slightly different weight, and a sharp, almost proof-like strike. It's this combination of rarity, mystery, and condition that reportedly pushed its value to an incredible $1.7 million in a private sale. While that price tag sounds unbelievable, it's not without precedent. Unique mint errors and one-of-a-kind coins have fetched similar prices before. When a coin exists as a single known example, something truly irreplaceable, it becomes a piece of history that collectors are willing to pay enormous amounts for. Rarity drives value, and when you combine rarity with condition and demand, that's where those million-dollar figures come from. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1973 Jefferson nickel collectible even beyond the legendary million-dollar piece. Condition is key. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing perfection. A 1973 nickel in mint state 65 or higher is already valuable. But the most sought-after examples are those with what collectors call full steps. That means the steps on Monticello are fully visible, sharp, and unbroken, a sign of a perfectly struck coin. Full-step nickels are significantly rarer and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their grade. So what should you look for if you think you might have a valuable 1973 Jefferson nickel? First, check the date and mint mark. The Philadelphia mint version has no mint mark, while the Denver version has a small D on the right side of Monticello. Next, examine the coin under good lighting. Look for sharp details, especially on Jefferson's portrait and the steps on Monticello. If your coin appears perfectly struck and shows no signs of wear or damage, it could be a higher-grade specimen worth much more than face value. Then, weigh the coin if you can. A regular Jefferson nickel should weigh exactly 5 grams. If yours is noticeably lighter or heavier, it might have been struck on the wrong planchet, a rare and valuable minting error. You can also look for color variations, doubling in the lettering, or a slightly off-center strike. These features can all make a coin unique and increase its value. That if you think you've found something special, the best step is to have your coin graded by a professional company like PCGS or NGC. These organizations authenticate and grade coins, ensuring that collectors and dealers can verify their value with confidence. Never clean or polish your coin before submitting it. Cleaning can actually damage the surface and reduce its value dramatically. Even if your 1973 Jefferson nickel isn't the million-dollar one, it can still be worth collecting. High-grade coins from this year, especially those with full steps, regularly sell for impressive amounts. For many collectors, the excitement lies in the hunt, the idea that an incredibly rare treasure could be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered in an old roll of nickels or a forgotten coin jar. Now, think about this. Somewhere out there, maybe in a drawer, a coin album, or a handful of spare change, there could be another 1973 Jefferson nickel like the one rumored to have sold for $1.7 million. It's a reminder that even the most ordinary-looking coins can hold extraordinary stories and unexpected value. That's the magic of numismatics, the thrill of discovery and the connection to history that every coin represents. The next time you get change back at the store or dig through an old coin jar, take a moment to look at your nickels. That 1973 Jefferson nickel in your hand could be more than just 5 cents. It could be a hidden treasure, a piece of American history, and maybe, just maybe, the next million-dollar coin. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and love learning about rare coins, hidden treasures, and amazing stories from the world of collecting, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next upload. And tell us in the comments, have you ever found a rare or unusual nickel in your change? You never know. Your discovery could be the next incredible coin we talk about right here. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and always remember, every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story is worth a fortune. Would you like me to write the next one for the 1975 Jefferson nickel in the same cinematic storytelling style that keeps viewers hooked from start to finish? Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Today, we're diving into one of the most unbelievable stories in American coin collecting, the 1985 P. Jefferson nickel. Most people would never give this coin a second look. It's an ordinary 5-cent piece that has passed through millions of hands over the years. But what if I told you that one of these 1985 P nickels has been reported to sell for as much as $1.6 million? That's right. A coin you might find in your pocket change could be worth more than a mansion. Let's start with the history. The Jefferson nickel has been part of American life since 1938, designed by Felix Schlag to honor the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. On the front, you have Jefferson's portrait, and on the back, you see his famous home, Monticello. This design remained almost unchanged for over 60 years, becoming one of the most familiar and collected coins in U.S. history. Now let's fast forward to 1985. It was a busy year at the Philadelphia Mint, which is marked by the small letter P on the right side of Monticello. Millions of Jefferson nickels were produced that year, but as we know from coin collecting history, not all coins come out of the mint perfectly. Sometimes, minting machines strike coins incorrectly, planchets are mismatched, or dies are misaligned. And that's where true rarities are born. Among those millions of coins, there is said to be one extremely rare mint error. a 1985 P. Jefferson nickel that's unlike any other. Some collectors and experts believe it was struck on the wrong planchet, possibly one meant for a foreign coin or a test piece used during production. Others think it may have been part of an experimental batch of nickel-copper alloys. The result is a coin that looks slightly different, either in weight, color, or metallic tone, but still carries the same date and design. That tiny difference has made this particular coin a legend in the numismatic world, according to collector rumors and private auction reports. One of these special 1985 P nickels changed hands in a private sale for around $1.6 million. Although no public record confirms that exact figure, it's not as unbelievable as it sounds. Rare mint errors and one-of-a-kind specimens have sold for similar prices before. When a coin is the only known example of its kind, its value is determined not just by its face value or metal content, but by its rarity, its mystery, and the passion of collectors willing to own a piece of history that no one else has. Now, let's talk about what you should look for if you happen to have a 1985 P. Jefferson nickel. First, check for that P mint mark, which indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. Then, take a close look at the surface and color of the coin. Does it look slightly off from a normal nickel? Maybe lighter or darker in tone? Is the size a little smaller or the edge smoother? Those subtle signs could mean it was struck on the wrong planchet. You should also check the weight. A standard nickel should weigh exactly 5 grams. If yours is even slightly different, that could be a clue you're holding something special. Collectors also prize coins that have full steps on the Monticello design. This means you can clearly see all the steps at the base of Jefferson's home on the reverse side. Coins with this sharp detail are considered the best of the best and can bring huge premiums, even without a major minting error. A 1985 P. Jefferson nickel in flawless mint condition, with full steps and no scratches, can already be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now imagine if your coin has both perfect condition and a major minting error. That's where the value can skyrocket into 6 or even 7 figures. If you think you found a rare coin, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can damage its surface and destroy its collector value. Instead, store it safely and consider having it authenticated and graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Once graded, the coin's condition and authenticity will be officially certified, giving you a clear idea of what it's truly worth. The 1985 P. Jefferson nickel also has an interesting place in American coin history. During the 1980s, the U.S. Mint was modernizing its equipment, which led to fewer but more fascinating mint errors compared to earlier decades. This makes rare mistakes from that period especially valuable, since fewer of them were ever made or survived. Even without the million-dollar version, the 1985 P is still worth searching for. Coins in mint state 67 or higher can sell for hundreds of dollars, and those with full steps can reach well into the thousands. Every once in a while, a collector discovers one in a roll of nickels from the bank or even in spare change. That's the magic of coin collecting. You never know what treasure is waiting in your pocket. Now picture this. Somewhere out there, another 1985 P. Jefferson nickel like that million-dollar piece might still exist. It could be sitting unnoticed in a jar of coins, in a forgotten drawer, or inside an old box in someone's attic. Finding that one-of-a-kind coin is every collector's dream, a small piece of history that could change your life forever. That's why it's always worth checking your change. Every coin has a story, and sometimes, those stories are worth far more than their face value. Whether it's the result of a minting mistake, a rare die variation, or a perfect strike, a single coin can tell a story of American craftsmanship, history, and mystery. The next time you get a handful of coins back from the store, don't just toss them aside. Take a closer look. You might be holding a 1985 P. Jefferson nickel that's worth more than you could ever imagine, maybe even $1.6 million. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video about the history and hidden value of the 1985 P. Jefferson nickel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another story about rare and valuable coins. And tell us in the comments, have you ever found an unusual or rare nickel in your collection? You never know, your story might be the next one we talk about here. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and always remember, treasure can be found in the smallest places. sometimes even in a 5-cent coin. Would you like me to write the next episode script for the 1989 D. Jefferson nickel in the same cinematic and educational tone? It would fit perfectly as part of a continuing YouTube coin series. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating stories in modern U.S. coinage, the 1992 D. Jefferson nickel. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a regular nickel, worth 5 cents, right? Well, not exactly. Some of these 1992 D nickels have been turning heads in the coin collecting world, with one rumored example said to be worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. Let's take a step back and talk about the history first. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of American change since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. Over the decades, billions of these coins have been minted, but like all coins, small variations and minting errors can make a world of difference in value. Now, fast forward to 1992. That year, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels. But among them, there are rumors and reports of a few extraordinary error coins that collectors believe could be worth a fortune. The story of the million-dollar 1992 D nickel begins with an extremely rare minting mistake. One so unusual that experts think only one or two may exist. What makes this coin so special? It's believed that this particular 1992 D nickel was struck on a wrong planchet, possibly intended for another denomination. Some experts think it could have been struck on a cent planchet or even a special mint test piece. The result is a coin with incorrect metal composition, a slightly smaller diameter, and unusual coloration. Add to that perfect mint luster and a fully struck Jefferson portrait, and you've got a true numismatic anomaly. Now, there's also talk that one of these coins ended up being auctioned privately for around $1.2 million. While that figure is hard to verify through public auction records, there's no doubt that rare error nickels from the 1990s have sold for tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, it's not impossible that an extremely rare one-of-a-kind coin could reach that kind of price among serious collectors. But before you start checking all your change, let's talk about what to look for. First, examine the date and mint mark. You're looking for a 1992 D, meaning it was minted in Denver. Then, look closely at the surface. Does it appear slightly off color, maybe more coppery or lighter than usual? Check the size and weight if you can. A Jefferson nickel should weigh 5 grams. If yours is noticeably lighter or heavier, that could be a major clue that it's been struck on the wrong planchet. Also, pay attention to the details on Jefferson's portrait and Monticello. On rare examples, the details may appear sharper or more distorted than normal, depending on the minting error. Any doubling in the lettering, rim issues, or unusual strike patterns can also mean your coin is something truly special. And here's the exciting part. Even if you don't have the million-dollar version, there are other 1992 D. Jefferson nickels that can still fetch impressive prices. A flawless coin graded MS-68 or higher can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Proof-like strikes and full-step varieties are especially valuable. Full steps means you can see every step on Monticello clearly, a sign of a perfect strike, and collectors pay a premium for those. How can you tell if your nickel is valuable? The first thing to do is handle it carefully. Don't clean it, don't polish it. Put it in a protective holder and take it to a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate and grade your coin, giving you an accurate idea of its true value. Let's take a moment to appreciate why coins like the 1992 D. Jefferson nickel are so fascinating. They remind us that even in a world of mass production, tiny errors can create something incredibly rare and beautiful. A 5-cent coin that slips through the mint's quality control process becomes a piece of history, a treasure waiting to be discovered in someone's pocket change. Before we wrap up, remember this. The stories of million-dollar coins, while sometimes exaggerated, are based on real principles of rarity, condition, and collector demand. And who knows, maybe that nickel rattling around in your change jar is the next big discovery. If you've got a 1992 D. Jefferson nickel at home, take a close look. You never know, your next coin could be worth far more than 5 cents. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history and hidden treasures, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more videos, and let me know in the comments if you've ever found an unusual nickel in your change. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and remember, every coin has a story. Would you like me to make this script more dramatic and story-driven, good for voiceover and visuals, or more educational and documentary style, better for a coin expert audience? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about one of the most talked about modern nickels in U.S. history, the 1998 D. Jefferson nickel. Most people would pass this coin without a second thought, thinking it's worth only 5 cents. But what if I told you that one special example of this coin has been rumored to sell for as much as $1.1 million? That's right, a 5-cent coin turning into a life-changing fortune. Let's go back in time for a minute. The Jefferson nickel has been an American classic since 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and his famous home, Monticello, on the back. Over the decades, the design changed only slightly, which makes it easy to overlook the small details that can turn an ordinary coin into a rare treasure. In 1998, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of nickels bearing the small D mint mark. Most were ordinary coins meant for circulation, but hidden among them were a few that were anything but ordinary. The story goes that a small number of 1998 D nickels left the mint with major minting errors, the kind of rare mistakes that collectors dream about finding. One of these coins is believed to be the mysterious 1998 D. Jefferson nickel that reportedly sold in a private deal for $1.1 million. What makes this coin so valuable? It's said that the $1 million 1998 D nickel was struck on the wrong planchet, meaning it was made on a blank metal disc meant for another coin. Some reports suggest it could have been struck on a foreign planchet or even one meant for a dime. That would make the coin slightly smaller, thinner, or a different color than normal. Others believe it could have been a special test strike made under experimental conditions at the Denver Mint. Whatever the case, it's the kind of 1 in a billion error that instantly makes a coin unique. Now, while the exact story of the $1.1 million sale remains mostly whispered among high-end collectors, there's no doubt that rare Jefferson nickels can command huge prices. High-grade examples with perfect mint luster and full steps, meaning all the steps on Monticello are fully visible, are worth a lot of money even without major errors. A 1998 D in perfect condition graded MS68 or higher can easily sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now let's talk about what you can look for in your own change. First, check the date, 1998, and look for that D mint mark on the right side of the coin, just next to Monticello. Then, inspect the coin under a light. Does it look slightly off in color or size? If so, it might have been struck on the wrong metal planchet. Next, check the strike quality. A strong, crisp strike with full steps is a major plus. If your coin looks perfect, don't clean it. Cleaning can actually destroy its collector value. Instead, keep it safe and have it checked by a professional grader like PCGS or NGC. Another thing that adds to a coin's worth is its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being flawless. Even a small difference in grade can mean a huge difference in price. A 1998 D. Jefferson nickel graded MS67 might bring around $200, but an MS68 or higher could bring $1,000 or more, and that's without any rare minting errors. The truth is, most nickels from that year will be common, but every so often, an incredible coin slips through the cracks, and that's what keeps collectors searching. Imagine finding one of these in a jar of change or in an old coin roll from the bank. It's happened before. People have found valuable errors worth thousands in places you'd least expect. Now, let's take a second to appreciate the Jefferson nickel itself. For over 80 years, it's carried the image of one of America's founding fathers, circulating through millions of hands, carrying stories from one generation to the next. It's not just metal, it's history in your pocket. If you've got any nickels lying around, especially ones from 1998 with a D mint mark, grab a magnifying glass and take a closer look. Who knows? You might be holding something rare, something that could change your life. Even if you don't find the $1 million one, learning to spot these details is what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every coin has a story, and sometimes that story can be worth a fortune. Thanks for joining me today. If you love hearing about rare coins and hidden treasures, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next upload. And tell me in the comments, what's the most unusual or rare coin you've ever found? Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and always check your change, because you never know what kind of history you might be holding. Would you like me to make a voice-ready version next, written with pacing and pauses for narration? That helps the script flow naturally for voiceover or text-to-speech. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Rarest coins today, we're talking about one of the most fascinating and mysterious coins in modern American history, the 1987 D. Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it looks like any regular 5-cent piece, but behind this little coin lies an unbelievable story, one that has stunned collectors around the world. Believe it or not, one of these nickels has been rumored to sell for as much as $1.4 million. That's right, a simple 1987 D. Jefferson nickel, turning pocket change into a small fortune. Let's rewind and start with a little history. The Jefferson nickel has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side, with his iconic home, Monticello, on the reverse. Over the years, this design became one of the longest-running in U.S. mint history. The 1980s continued the long tradition of Jefferson nickels, and by 1987, the Denver Mint, represented by the small D mint mark, was producing hundreds of millions of them for circulation across the country. But as with many coins, not every single one comes out of the mint exactly the same. Every so often, a minting error happens, a misstrike, a wrong planchet, or an overpolished die. These rare mistakes are what makes certain coins so valuable. And that's where our story of the 1987 D nickel gets interesting. According to collector reports and numismatic whispers, there exists a mysterious 1987 D. Jefferson nickel with an extraordinary minting error, one that makes it truly one of a kind. Some believe it was struck on the wrong planchet, possibly a foreign coin blank that somehow found its way into the Denver Mint's machinery. Others think it might have been a special test strike created under experimental conditions that accidentally entered circulation. Whatever the case, this particular coin is said to possess an unusual metallic tone, a slightly off-center strike, and near-perfect detail, features that make it stand out from every other nickel minted that year. This unique piece allegedly made its way into the hands of a private collector and was later sold in an off-market private sale for an incredible $1.4 million. While no public auction record confirms that exact number, the rumor itself has driven massive interest among collectors and treasure hunters eager to find one just like it. And when you look at the history of other rare minting errors, that price doesn't seem so far-fetched. Some unique nickels and pennies have indeed sold for 6 and even 7 figures. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1987 D. Jefferson nickel special, even beyond the rumored million-dollar example. This was a year of heavy minting, and most of the coins were well struck, but finding one in flawless condition is still rare. Coins graded at the very top of the scale, mint state 68 or higher, can already fetch several hundred or even thousands of dollars. If your coin has strong luster, no scratches, and visible details on every step of Monticello, that's a sign it might be worth grading. And that brings us to an important detail, the full steps designation. Collectors pay big premiums for nickels that show all 6 steps of Monticello on the reverse without any breaks or wear. These are known as full-step nickels, and they're among the most desirable for Jefferson nickel enthusiasts. A 1987 D with full steps in perfect condition can easily be worth a small fortune, even without a major minting error. Now, if you want to check your own 1987 D nickel, here's what to look for. First, find the date, 1987, and look for the small D mint mark on the right side of Monticello. Then, examine the coin closely under good lighting. Look for anything unusual, off-center strikes, double lettering, odd colors, or size differences. If your coin seems lighter or heavier than a regular nickel, that could be a sign it was struck on the wrong metal. These are the kinds of details that could turn a 5-cent coin into something truly extraordinary. If you suspect you have something rare, the next step is to get it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These grading companies can verify whether your coin is a mint error, determine its grade, and give it an official certification. Having that authentication can make all the difference when it comes to selling a valuable coin. Even if your 1987 D nickel isn't the million-dollar variety. It's still a piece of American history. Every coin has its own story, where it's been, whose hands it's passed through, and the era it represents. That's what makes coin collecting so special. It's not just about money. It's about preserving the small pieces of history that most people overlook every single day. Now imagine this. Somewhere out there, in a coin jar, a drawer, or an old roll from the bank, there might still be another rare 1987 D nickel waiting to be discovered. It could be sitting unnoticed, waiting for the right collector to recognize its true value. That's the thrill of coin hunting. You never know what treasure might be hiding in your everyday change.so. The next time you get a handful of coins back at the store, take a moment to look closely. You might just be holding history, or even a fortune. One small coin could be worth $1.40 million. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed learning about the history and hidden value of the 1987 D. Jefferson nickel, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more stories about rare coins, minting mysteries, and valuable discoveries hiding in plain sight. And tell us in the comments, what's the most interesting coin you've ever found? You never know. Your story could be the next big discovery we talk about right here. Until next time, keep collecting, keep learning, and always check your change, because you just might be holding a piece of American history worth a fortune. Would you like me to write the next one, for example, the 1985 D or 1990 D. Jefferson nickel, in a more cinematic narration style, designed for voiceover and background music pacing? It's great for YouTube storytelling channels.